We're
As
live. Woo!
we never know when the damn thing is going to go from connecting to live. Welcome, folks. This is Amped Up with Cliff Schechter. I am indeed Cliff Schechter,
And I'm
along
David
with,
Schuster.
and
Woohoo!
he wanted an Emmy. He's more talented.
Cliff, we have such a big show today. We're going to talk to Stephen Coobeck, who is a billionaire running for governor of California for the Democratic nomination. Gavin Newsom, of course, is term limited, so he cannot run again. So the race is next year. We're going to talk to him.
It looks like he may want to run for some other office too.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah.
But Cliff, you have a lot on your mind today.
I do. Just a couple-minute rant for all of you. And I think there's enough people here, so we're just going to go right ahead and just say, okay, here it is, Democrats. This is my advice for you. I've thought long and hard about it, and here's what I've come up with. Do it. Do it. What do I mean? Here's what I mean. It's pretty simple. Gerrymander the living hell out of our map. I am so tired during my entire political career as a consultant and as a commentator watching Democrats show up with like a Nerf, show up with like, I'm losing it, but like a Nerf hammer to a fight with Republicans who have a very large sledgehammer with very large nails. They impeach our president by lying and catching him in something he should have never been asked. Their guy illegally invades Iraq, no problem. Mitch McConnell steals Supreme Court justices. We just sort of let him get away with it. We put Merrick Garland in. Merrick Garland was so worried about those institutions. I'd like to ask him now, how's USAID doing? I'm glad you protected the reputation of DOJ as being above reproach. How's USAID? How are all those people that have been kidnapped to other countries? Have you talked to their families? Because, yeah, you let that happen because we were weak. We didn't fight back. And you know what? Instead of fighting back, I'm going to start off by saying fight forward. Enough reacting. Be proactive. You know who these people are. They are fascists. They are aligned with Putin. Okay? Even Lisa Murkowski, who claimed to be reasonable, voted for that ridiculous bill that will lead people to die from lack of health coverage and lack of SNAP. They will not be able to eat. David may have something to say about that in a second. So just do it. We've got a number of trifectas, okay, in big states. I can tell you right now, if they're doing it in Texas, DeSantis, big booty DeSantis, white booty DeSantis himself is going to do it in Florida. They will in Georgia. We have trifectas in numerous states. I believe we have one in Arizona, for example. Do it. We have them in three of the biggest states in the country. The biggest state, California, New York. We have it in Illinois. Do it. We have it in Maryland. In Minnesota, we've got the governor, we've got, I believe it is the state house or state senate, and the other one, there's a tie. Do it. There must be a tie-breaking vote somewhere. Find it. Pennsylvania, I think we're down the state senate by 2 votes and have everything else. Well, find out what those 2 state senators want for their districts. Oh my God, are we playing politics? Are we doing things like they did for Lisa Murkowski in Alaska? You're damn right we are, because this is about democracy. Whatever it takes to get it done there, we're only down a few seats. I believe it's the state house in Michigan. Find out what we can do there. And again, I think I mentioned Maryland already. It doesn't matter. Any decent, large, small, I don't care, state, go ahead and gerrymander. Gerrymander the hell out of it. Not because we believe in gerrymandering. We don't. We don't think we should ever have to do it. But when the other side does something and you try to fight a battle with both legs and one arm kicked, behind your back, you get your ass kicked. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of losing because we don't try. And this isn't just about losing. This isn't just a competition. This is democracy. Do we want a democracy, or we want to let them steal it next year in Texas and Texas and Florida? So California, everybody, first of all, call your state rep, call your state senator, call your governor, especially if you're in a Democratic state with a trifecta. But if you're in a Democratic state, like I mentioned, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, places where we're so close, this needs to be the top of the agenda. They cannot steal what should be our house come 2026, because Donald Trump's numbers are in that 500 yards of crap that Andy Dufresne crawled through in Shawshank right now. Okay, go ahead.
Cliff, I just want to pick up on your point about this is not something that Democrats stand for or prefer to do. But the fact of the matter is Republicans are doing this now in Texas. And so the way you deal with it is you say, okay, if you Republicans really want to go down this route of changing our democracy by gerrymandering, we're going to go into California, Michigan, Pennsylvania, all these states, and we can do it even more than you. And the goal is not to gerrymander the entire country. The goal is to say to Republicans, we are not as a country going to go down this route. Stop it. stop what you're doing in Texas, and we'll refrain from what we could do in California and other states. But as long as Republicans are pushing forward, the only way you can get their attention, the only way you can even the playing field is to do the same thing in a state like California.
That's right. I mean, you must be sitting there. If you're not going to actually do it, you have to be sitting there literally with your finger above the button until they walk away because you can't trust them. So I would even say I would go ahead and do it in all of these places and then propose legislation that nobody can ever do it again, that we have honest districts, and let's see if they pass them. Because maybe if they're at a disadvantage, they'll join us and actually want good government, because I don't want this. I want democracy. But what's worse than even what I'm proposing here, which is us massively gerrymandering. What's worse is fascism. Okay, and that is what they're going for. In fact, we voted for a ballot measure here in Ohio to stop them specifically from doing it. They slow walked the results. They kept ignoring the courts being found in contempt, so that we only got one extra seat when we should have had 3 or 4 more. And now they're going to try to go against the whole thing and just ignore it because they like breaking the law, allegedly. And so they can go ahead and steal seats here too. This is their plan. We cannot let them steal democracy.
There is some other news, Cliff, today, and well said. I was, before we got on the call, I was telling you that I just looked up at some of the headlines. I didn't, I don't pay such close attention to the White House, daily sort of briefing schedule and whatnot. But Donald Trump is appearing with Harrison Butker, the field goal kicker, and he's going to be reinstituting the presidential fitness test. Barack Obama changed it in 2012 to sort of a fitness gram, but putting that aside, Donald Trump wants to get back to the traditional fitness test, which is pretty ironic for him.
Is Ronnie Jackson going to be the one that measures Trump's fitness? He's like Bull. He will live to 283 years.
And even if we don't want to, write the jokes about Donald Trump's own lack of physical fitness and mental fitness, in my view, I'm all for kids being physical fit. But the last time I checked, if you want kids to be physically healthy, mentally healthy, you don't want them to be hungry when they go to school. And what has the Trump administration done? They have cut the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. They have cut food stamps. They have cut school lunches. So more kids are actually going to be going to school hungry, and they're going to have less of a chance of being physically fit. So great. Donald Trump, you want to reinstate the physical fitness test? That's fine, but also reinstate food stamps and school lunch programs while you're at it.
And I'll add in also cutting their Medicaid so they don't have health care. Yeah. It's kind of hard to be physically fit when you have minor ailments you can't treat, so they become major ailments. That's another way. If they actually cared about any of this stuff, that whole big, ridiculous, stupid budget wouldn't have been passed. I know Elon Musk needs another pair of yacht slippers, but I still think it's more important maybe that children eat, considering, as you said, physical fitness. And every single study will show you that when children perform worse in school, it's because they're hungry. What a shock. You can't pay attention to your multiplication tables because you're starving. Just cruelty and stupidity. But I'm glad they're doing it. Maybe they'll bring Arnold Schwarzenegger back in, even though he's ripped the crap out of Trump I don't know how many times. Bring in Kid Rock. He should run it. He looks like he's in pretty good shape. Find him wherever he is on the floor of backstage after one of his concerts. Drag him in and see if you can wake him up. He can run the whole damn thing.
Hey, Cliff, the other thing I wanted to ask you is we got into this the other day. There's this video out of Florida, right, of this 18-year-old kid. I mean, he's a high school senior. He's an American citizen, Kenny Linez. His misfortune happened to be that he was going to his landscape work with his mom in the car and 2 other of his colleagues who apparently were undocumented. ICE grabbed them all, threw the undocumented workers to the ground, tasered one, beat up this kid, assaulted him. It's one of the most horrific videos that I've seen, but I've been dying to get your reaction to this as well and what it says about who we've become.
Well, we talked about it on a live stream we did yesterday through when we do on YouTube. It's at Cliffs_Edge. You can go see it. We have an image of this guy literally happily. He's got a smile on his face while he's giving this kid a chokehold. How this isn't a classic case of abuse, how these guys are not right now being questioned and aren't being ready to be thrown into prison tells you that we have a police state. That they could even get away with that. What have we become? We've become cruel. We've become callous. We've gotten to the point where the banality of evil doesn't even describe us. Mm-hmm. These guys just drive around and there's no accountability. Because if there were, again, when regular peace officers, others act this way, then right away there's an announced investigation. Where is it for these guys? An American citizen, I don't care. First of all, you should do that to no human being. But in the case of an American citizen throwing them to the ground, he should be suing them immediately. They should have been arrested for this. And we should be looking at kicking them off the force and putting them in prison.
And Kenny Linus said to the ICE agents, hey, I have rights. I'm an American citizen. I was born here. And they said, no, you don't, amigo. So, yeah, to your point, I mean, he should sue their asses off, sue them into oblivion. And it, you know, I think it gets to if ICE was really going after the violent criminals, the murderers.
Well, they start with Donald Trump.
Fine. I mean, and that was the rhetoric. But, you know, the data shows from the government's own reporting that like less than 9% of everybody who's being swept up has ever committed or ever been charged with any sort of violent offense. Their only offense was perhaps crossing the border illegally or being undocumented. Well, imagine if we decided to go after, I don't know, everybody who got a speeding ticket.
Or, I don't know, everybody or maybe just everybody that got 34 felony convictions for paying off a porn star. Let's say we did that. Or everybody whose mother wrote a letter telling them that they were so horrible to women that they literally that their mom felt sorry for the women that were with them. Oh, let's make that guy defense secretary. I think we could go on and on. Or if you're head of DHS and let's say you used a loophole. No, you didn't use a loophole. You illegally allowed your daughter to not have to take certain tests to get her real estate license that everybody else had to take, allegedly. I'd like to know what the criminality, the charged and convicted criminality of the Trump administration is versus undocumented. I think it would be about 9%, 91%. But
and it all underscores that this is not about safeguarding the border. This is not about keeping bad people out. It's about brutality, terrorizing people within the United States. And that's it. And it's
white replacement theory, because they want to scare people that are not white to not come here anymore because they are obsessed with having whites be a majority here, because that's how small their brains are and how they think. But we're a minute or two late. We need to invite in our guest.
And while you do that, how about I give a little sort of spiel about who he is? Stephen Coobeck. He is a billionaire. He was the founder of the timeshare company Diamond Resorts, which a couple of years ago was sold and became a part of Hilton's Grand Vacation Group. And he made a fortune with that. But he started this company. He has been a philanthropist. He was a close friend of the late Senator Harry Reid. Stephen Coobeck joins us.
Here we are.
Oh, my God, guys.
You did it.
Guys.
Yeah. How's it going, Stephen?
How's your day?
We're doing okay.
We're doing good. Welcome to the Blue Amp Substack. I'm David Schuster. Cliff Schecter's here as well. Nice to meet you, Stephen. You're quite a character, and we're going to get into some of the policy questions. First, I missed the big headline. You are running for governor of California, because Gavin Newsom is term limited.
Well, you know what? He's not only term limited. He and I had a little chat up in the Bay Area about 4 weeks ago, and he said, "Why is everyone up my ass all the time? I have an expiration." And I said, Gov, I've been friends with you 20, 25 years. Your expiration's my birth date.
All right. Well, that's pretty good. You are quite a character, and this is going to be a really fun 45 minutes with you. But I want to start and we're going to get into the policy positions and the big issues, but I want to start with the big news related to the race. Kamala Harris announced yesterday, she is not going to be running for governor. She's, I suppose, leaving the door open for a 2028 presidential run. What's your reaction as somebody who is possibly facing a race against her in the primary, but also as a fellow Democrat? What do you make of this?
Well, I've known her for a long time. When I ran tourism in the United States for the White House, I created Brand USA. I'm sure if you guys did your homework. I worked with her for a little bit, and she called me. The last conversation I actually had with her was a little rough. It was May 24th, 2019. To be specific, it was the 1-year anniversary of my father's death, my best friend. My biological father, because my adopted father was Harry Reid. And she was asking me, would I contribute and would I be involved and, been in politics for, 3 decades. What are your thoughts? And I told her she wasn't ready for prime time.
That's a pretty strong statement.
She hung up on me. That was the last time I talked to her. I'm unapologetically authentic. Look, the only way I've been my entire life. I don't have time. I want everyone to do well. And if somebody's not doing something that I think they're ready for or in the mindset of or have done their due diligence to do, why would I just feed them lines of shit? Why? I'm
But-
not. I'm
Well,
not
I
here.
think
I'm
that's
not here to pander. I'm not here.
But
to
but to follow up, I mean, granted, maybe things didn't end so well with you and Kamala Harris. But what was your reaction yesterday
Well,
when you found out she was now running?
She came to the right decision finally because she was living in such an echo chamber, a bubble of being insulated. She lost that last election, and believe me, I was very disappointed that she lost. I didn't like the messaging. She wasn't listening to the customers of California, nor the customers of America. She wasn't listening. She was disconnected. Um, But I think it goes to if you look at a person's history, could she keep a staff? Could she keep a staff? No. Could she execute on the mission that was put forth? She was in charge of the border. Did she really handle that? No. She wasn't listening to the people of America. Eggs, bread, milk, cheap gas. People are hurting. Affordability, a big issue. Immigration. She couldn't tackle easy issues. And if you look at particularly how she handled herself, what was happening in America, let alone even in California, when they asked her on The View, what would you do differently? People were looking for a change. And she said, nothing. She said nothing.
Well, let me ask you this, because I mean, a lot of people would point out that border crossings are actually down under Joe Biden, right? So if you look at those facts and those figures, I mean, I know Republicans like to make this into an issue, but I don't. I feel like the border became this sort of nebulous thing that people.
Well, if you remember, we had a bipartisan immigration policy. Believe me, I am fluid on immigration. I work with DHS and CBP and the State Department when I ran tourism. I'm very, very, very fluid on immigration.
But Trump told them not to vote for that, right?
That's right. He circumvented it. And you know what? The Democratic Party didn't fight hard enough because they became weak. Forget about woke. The Democratic Party became weak. I grew up in a Democratic Party that was strong. I was taught by Clinton, Harry Reid, George Mitchell, John Breaux, Dodd. I mean, fighters. I mean, we actually understood balance sheet, income statement, law and order. Look at under Obama. How many deportations were there under President Obama, who I worked for?
Right? There were a lot.
More than now. Yeah.
There were a lot.
Yes.
And if you look under Clinton, boy, didn't he and Gore reinvent government? They balanced a budget and 400,000 jobs taken out of the federal government to make it efficient. So Democrats can lead. They don't have a voice in the hard center. You know what they like to do? Have bingo cards and resist right now.
Do you think they should have been speaking out? In other words, because obviously the numbers weren't there. Sometimes you persuade through, fighting threats. I mean, we're advocates here of Democrats should fight harder on everything. So do you think it's just that Democrats weren't speaking up enough, weren't fighting enough, weren't taking it public enough, weren't getting in their faces? How do you think Democrats could have handled that if they didn't have the numbers on that bill? If Mike Johnson was blocking it?
Look, I wish Harry Reid were around, and he's looking up at he's looking down from the sky, and he taught me every day. I spent a half an hour to an hour with him once, twice, 3 times a week, and he would fight. He'd be that fighter. He was a tactician. He was an assassin, and he used rules. And he gained relationships. And believe me, you could have been shanked by him and you didn't even know you were shanked. And
he did it on judges. I was very happy when he did that back in 2014 or so and took the initiative.
He did. But if you look at our party today, for some reason, maybe it's because they've never signed the front of a check. They've never risked capital. They don't know what it's like to really, truly take care of people and protect and fight. And there's a pathway here because we're at this unique period of time where it's been so loud on both sides, and that hard center's never had a voice of what it truly could become, a land and a nation that's strong. The United States is the greatest state in the world. country in the world. I mean, we can't tarnish our brand. Look what Trump just did to our brand worldwide when he tries to almost seize our bond markets. He forgot about talking to the best customers. So Democrats just need to crow about this.
Well, let's get into some of the business issues, particularly in California, right? I mean, California has a higher unemployment rate than the national average. Other issues include rising cost of housing. Let's start with unemployment. What would you do about it? How would you attract more employment to California?
Well, first of all, let's talk about California's great exports. Okay, when I grew up in California, and I aspired in California, this is kindergarten through schooling here. California is the bully pulpit of the United States. Let's start with the school system. Okay. Let's start with the school system. You've got they used to be number one school systems in the United States, UC system and the CSU system. Okay. We've got to prepare people in the CSU system for jobs that work in the real world. Okay. We have to have a California that's based on performance and results. I proposed the California Department of Performance and Results. We've increased full-time employees in our government here to the tune of 45,000 jobs over the last 10 years. There's laws on laws and laws, which lead to regulations on regulations. You can't get a business license within hours. It takes days. We need to find out from the customer of California what impedes you from doing good business in California.
So cutting regulations, that's one.
But cutting regulations, but having regulations to keep the bad actors out. That's the only reason.
So are there specific regulations that you would cut that bother you?
Oh, there's a lot of regulations I've studied. We have over 380,000 regulations. First of all, when you start to understand fixing broken, which I've done, I fixed the most broken of business on Terra to Diamond. We had team issues, customer issues, tax issues, balance sheet issues. I had to rep and wart the financial statements of the company I bought. That's a little crazy, but I did it, lived through 0809, and then bought 10 more companies. Created value, fixed the most broken. It's a puzzle. So you have to do your homework and do the due diligence, which I've done, and look at first HR law, human resource law. Human resource law, if you looked at human resource law in California, it is pages and pages and pages, which you have to post at your business. That in itself has got to be revised, okay? Equal for both sides, right? You have to be a good employer, take care of your people, and provide a great job that's a living wage, okay? So you have all these spinning plates that are dropping all over the place that have to be fixed. You know, affordability goes to regulation on building. When I built in California in the 80s, you could get planning commission approval and permits to start and know you could build within 120 days without having it weaponized with not in my backyard NIMBY and also having unions not come after you. There was a radius clause. Did it affect who within 500 feet of the asset? Okay.
Yeah.
These are all solvable issues. So the governor, if you lead properly with offense and protect this great country of California, okay, you can freeze CEQA, Wildlife and Species Act, and Coastal Commission Act until the legislature comes up with laws that are workable for suburban areas, urban areas, rural areas, and the coastal area. Simplify it.
You've spoken about cutting regulations, perhaps changing some of the zoning so that you could build more housing to deal with the housing crisis. What about the issue of homelessness in California? How do you solve that?
Well, let's follow the Supreme Court ruling and clean up the streets right now. That's all. That's about, look, Democrats have a problem right now of the lack of execution, the lack of accountability. You can't pay bills without invoices with proper backup and proper sign off. Okay. And then you have to enforce the laws. Proposition 36 didn't go far enough in my book. We don't steal, eighth commandment. It's simple. We don't steal.
But what do you do with everybody?
Yeah,
I mean, because there's a certain cruelty to just.
No, it's not cruelty. It's actually humanity. Because I've been very involved with the LA Dream Center. We've got a lot of great charities in our state. And if we create public-private partnerships with the great standard operating procedures that are being followed now, that execute, that are accountable and enforce, we have all these empty office buildings. Well, look, the homelessness situation is really simple. You want to divert to that for a minute. First of all, you have one issue. How do you create and provide services so people don't fall into homelessness first. Okay, they talk about having issues,
I would
solutions.
think more funds for mental health services, right? Are you in favor of that?
Of 100%, because guess what? There's some people, unfortunately, that are going to need, it's not mental health. Please don't use that word. It's brain
Okay.
health. Brain health. Brain health.
Okay. Whatever. Sure.
Let's talk positively. All these negative connotative words, the nomenclature we've used in a lot of different these areas are wrong. I'm a positive guy. I'm a guy of aspiration. Okay, helping people, serving people. And it's different. So let's make sure people don't fall into homelessness. Let's put services in place and save people from falling into homelessness. Because once they are in homelessness, that's where drug addiction, all the bad
Sure.
things happen.
I agree very much with that.
And then take those people in the form of a community which they have found in the street or wherever they have found themselves and put them together so they help each other come out of homelessness. And the LA Dream Center does a great job of that. 5 years I've worked with them, taking care of 42 homeless families.
You'd fund them or have it? I just want to be clear because, again, I don't think that being homeless is the best situation out in the streets. It's dangerous, but they do deserve to be taken care of and have a roof and be somewhere. The public square is for all of us. So I would agree with you on that part, but where do you have so you're saying you have the space and you have the funding, you could supply, others can supply it?
Do you know how many office buildings are empty right now?
In LA or the country or the world?
I think all over.
I'm just having someone who I don't know in LA. No, I have no idea.
I've operated in 35 countries because I'm going to tell you around the world.
Yeah, there's a lot around the world.
So if there's any part of commercial real estate that's got a problem right now, it's office space. And there's a lot of it. And those buildings are unique enough. I built them. So you're talking to somebody who signed the front of a check, who's come out of his pocket for payroll, that's paid all his banks back, that's given outsized returns to investors. I've done it. I'm coming from experience. You take these office buildings, and the LA Dream Center has this great concept where you create dormitory environments on a floor plate. Okay, on a floor plate of an office building. You've got centralized restrooms. You expand them out with shower facilities because you got plumbing issues, so you don't have to deal with the risers in the buildings, okay? And these buildings also, for the most part, have food and beverage commissaries. You can come with medical care. Now we've got to come up with how do we deal with drug treatment.
I was going to say, would there be security there too? Just
security. It's operated like a hospitality environment with a medical overlay.
Okay.
And at the end, there's coaching and counseling and life skills. There's family-oriented floors. There's men's floors. There's women's floors. You have a little faith-based behind it because you know what? Everyone wants to do well. I've interviewed those that are homeless numerous times, and everyone wants a purpose in life. Have you ever fallen off the wagon? Have you ever really seen the precipice of hell? I have. Okay? It's not fun. Everyone needs a purpose. You think it's fun selling a big company and building it, all of a sudden they take your baby away because you sold it, you get a big check, but then what? The lights.
I've never done that, but it doesn't sound like fun to me.
I wish I had, though, a very successful company that I could have sold to Hilton Grand Resorts. I mean, that's your story.
If you could tell us how to do that, that would be awesome.
I could teach you. I give you a master class. So I'm here to do that as the next governor of California because I want everyone to aspire.
I want to ask you about some of your competitors in the race. You mentioned one of the big ones is the former LA mayor, Antonio Villaraigosa. You mentioned just a moment ago that you're a positive guy, which, sounds like it to me, but then why pick a fight with him over this proven problem solver copyright issue? What is that all about?
Let me tell you what it's about. It's simple. It's rule of law. Do you believe there is such thing as trademark law in the United States? I think we do because it's a trademark office in the United States.
But a lot of people may not understand why trademark proven problem solver. It seems like why couldn't any of us just use that as, hey, I'm a proven problem solver in journalism or broadcast? I mean, what's wrong with that?
Well, then, do you want to go tell Nike why they chose just do it?
Oh, I said do it earlier at the beginning of this whole thing.
But you didn't say just do it and put it on a shoe and file it with the trademark office under a classification which is allowed.
Yes, fair.
So don't talk to me about inexperience versus experience versus inexperience, because that's what Antonio is. The guy couldn't get a goddamn job after being mayor of one of the largest cities in the United States. What he got? Oh, he got a board seat with Herbalife, so he wants to do multi-level marketing and rip people off.
But why be so offended when he says, I am a proven problem solver?
You know what? Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
You got a car?
Yes.
Good. I feel like taking it.
Depends. Look, what kind of car do you have, David? Because
I have a Subaru. You can have it.
I just got sideswiped, and
I'll get you another Subaru.
You know what? If you're willing to give me your car, I'll take it. Great. And I'm going to go sell it and not give you the cash for it. I own assets. You know what? Don't take my assets.
But how? No, I mean, I get what you're saying. I think just what David was asking is that a car? Yeah, I got you. But is it worth the fight over something like
over a slogan?
Let me tell you what. No, it's not a slogan. Okay. It's a trademarked slogan, politically registered under class 35, 36, 41, and 42, approximately. You can find out the exact, but it's marked. I have over 70 trademarks marked, not just for licensing for my political work, but in what I do for a living. I marked the meaning of yes. I marked Diamond Resorts. Hilton owns those marks today. I sold those marks.
Well, there's no question you've been successful in business. We're just trying to find out how that affects your political philosophy. So go ahead, David.
My political philosophy is only one thing: rule of law. Antonio thinks it's freedom of speech. I believe it's trademark law. The courts will decide. And he actually did something really silly. He said the law firm that filed that mark filed a fraudulent trademark. Oh, well, then he can go fight with the law firm now because he just picked a fight with them, not me.
Well, then you've got more free time.
That's right. Business. It seems like, though, I mean, there's a perception that has been created, fair or not, that you're somebody who likes to, I don't know, take people to court or sue. And this whole sort of battle of Via Garosa, he brought up this issue, I guess, with your ex-girlfriend, Stephanie Grzansky. What was that about?
That's really simple. She tried to extort me. That was a total con game. I don't get extorted. You won't get extorted on my watch. Nobody extorts me. When you come up in the world, look, in business, we get into battles all the time. I'm not afraid to fight the fight and fight it for California and fight it for all of the customers of California, because you know what? It's really simple. I had a conversation with the Attorney General Bonta, and I said, Attorney General, you're going to try to fight this fight on CA Romanet 2, the Clean Air Act, Romanet 2. I said, well, you raised $25 million to fight this fight or fight fights against the federal government. You guys like to resist. You don't know how to unify and fix problems and sit down like big boys and girls in business. And then you raised that $25 million to $50 million when we weren't looking when the California fires happened. That was a little tricky move by you folks. And you want to fight this fight against the federal government when the Senate and the House are going to kill it and you're going to lose at the Supreme Court, because Massachusetts lost that fight in 2007, same issue on point, and West Virginia lost it on emissions when the Supreme Courts were a little different. Why would you spend $200 to $300 million of our money and fight a losing lawsuit when I know there's a food bank in Arvin, California, where the farm workers have to go to a food bank? In what world do farm workers need to go to a food bank? This is the way you're pissing away our money? You think it's your money? It's our money. And that's why I have got a problem here. I'm going to fight for California. And these other folks don't understand balance sheet and income statement. I asked Antonio Villaraigosa at a lunch. I said, Antonio, I've known you for a long time, pal. Do you know what no tax on tips does to the balance sheet of a company? He goes, no, this is really good for the customers. I said, really? Explain to me. He goes, well, can you explain it to me, Stephen? Because I really don't understand balance sheet and income statement. I said, yeah, because you've never signed the front of a check, and you've never borrowed money, and you've never paid people back, and you've never come out of your pocket for payroll. Antonio, let me explain what happens. I said, most people that get tips don't even qualify to pay income tax. And I said, 60% do, and there's an employer and an employee deduction, you just gave everyone with no tax on tips the right for the employer no longer to do that, so their EBITDA, their cash flow goes up. Their value of their company goes up. Their market cap goes up. The hedge funds win, the investors in that company win, and guess what? You didn't even see what that big, beautiful bill did. Mr. Trump pulled a little fast one on everybody. He capped it at $25,000. Ha ha. Nobody
He
talked
likes to
about
do that.
I know. Yeah, well, that's called the shell game, right? The
It
shell
is,
game.
I believe. Can I ask you something? So you, if I'm getting it correctly, so it's in the case of Stephanie Grzansky.
You want clickbait, right?
I really don't. It's just, this is going to come up in your campaign. We're
Oh,
going to talk about
all the time. You know what? It's really simple. I will not get extorted. This woman purported herself to be something that she was not. And you don't bust my trust. Don't lie to me. You want to
So
tell me
she said
good,
she was
bad?
a model. Is that what it was? And
She said she was. Yeah, she said she was a model on Elle magazine. She bought the cover of Elle magazine. She wasn't a model on Elle magazine.
So she was on OnlyFans. Is that right?
Yeah, you know what? And I'm so silly and stupid. I was newly divorced, and guess what? I didn't even know what the hell that meant. How about that? I didn't even know what it meant. She said all the celebrities are on it. I'm like, oh, okay, great. She said, don't go on Discord. Don't go on Reddit. I should have. I didn't even know what Discord and Reddit was. I do now.
So you ignored those. You went on OnlyFans. Did you find David's OnlyFans when you were on there?
Hey, David, what are you using on OnlyFans and how much you making them up? And by the way, David, all I know is if you're doing OnlyFans, from what I hear right now, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing right now.
Well, actually, I think we've got a larger audience here on our Substack than I would get on OnlyFans. But well, look, let's deal with one more controversy. And we've all had bad breakups. We've all had relationships that have gone south. I've been divorced. I mean, this stuff happens. I think the questions that you're going to face are: did you take it too far by bringing suits against her or legal recourse? And maybe you're forced to, because if she was in fact trying to steal money or whatnot.
Well, you know why I did it when I found out, David?
What?
She'd done it to 5 other guys before, and they did nothing, and they got extorted.
Okay. Right.
So it was a public message to everyone else: stay away.
All right. Well, here's another thing.
Don't date OnlyFans models.
Speaking of stay away, you said in 2017 you told MSNBC that Democratic leaders might as well stay away from you, that you would cut their money off if they made references to the wealthy. You said something like, if you use the term billionaire again, I'm done. Do you still feel that way?
Well, I've done a lot of things within the Democratic Party. I once redlined every single U.S. senator and congressman for coming into Las Vegas that was going to vote for Yucca Mountain, because I said, you're not coming in here voting for a nuclear waste repository and taking our money when it's disadvantaged to our community. So guess what? You're redlined. And I created a business community, that redlined every single congressman and senator. And guess what? The ones that voted for Yucca Mountain never came back and never got another dollar. We're not going to pay for bad behavior. I'm a very principled.
Good
guy.
I totally get that, but
we want to hear all sides of all this. That's why we're asking.
Of course,
you this.
But what's so bad? What's so bad about somebody talking about billionaires in the context of, hey, the billionaires are able to get more power politically, they have more influence than the guys on Main Street? What's wrong with that reference to billionaires?
Well, you know what? You got to take it in context. So don't take something out of context. You want to go back to that period of time.
Okay.
That's when Bernie et al. Were villainizing aspiration. And I've got a problem with villainizing aspiration. Okay? I came from negative 20 million bucks, fellas. You want to try that party trick? Go dig out of that hole. My father went bankrupt, and I kept that quiet. Okay? I am proud to do what I have created, and I'm proud to create all the jobs I've created, and I am so proud at all the kids I put through school and colleges, multi-generational today. I've had people with me 30, 35 years. I stand by my record, and you know what? I'm going to fight that fight, because don't villainize people aspiring. Okay? Let everyone do what they'd like to do. And you know what I said to the Bernie bros at that time? Get a fucking job. Get up early and stay late.
So they won't be voting for you in the primary, probably.
And you know what? And by the guys, that's okay. You know what somebody said to me on Free Palestine the other day?
I don't know.
I said, never. I said, we're not voting for you. I said, good, one less vote. I don't care.
Well, that actually leads to a really important question, which I think David meant to ask, and hopefully you'll be okay with me asking, which is,
Yep.
You've achieved probably, I think, what your dreams were. You've made, billions of dollars, or at least 1 billion. So, what makes you want to run? If I were you, I would just probably go live on an island somewhere and chill and, have drinks with like umbrellas in them. I'm being a little facetious, but in all seriousness, what makes you want to, because the campaign's hard. Being governor takes work. You could just enjoy your life at this point. You've lived the American dream. So what makes you want to do this in general?
It's a great question.
Thank you.
And people have asked me that question a lot. So, first of all, I got to make a real tough decision. Where did I want to reside the rest of my life? I grew up in Southern California. I'm a California boy. I got California values. My dream was always to live over the hill from the San Fernando Valley in Beverly Hills. And
you're not a Dodgers fan, though, right?
Hey.
I'm a Yankees fan. I'm just kidding with you. You guys beat our asses. It's all good. Go ahead.
Don't shit on Go Blue. Don't do it.
You hurt us internally. I want you to know last year. But go ahead.
You know what I'm going to tell you?
Yeah.
Play better.
I would have told them the same thing, but we need a new manager. But that's a whole nother conversation. You go ahead.
So I had to make a really tough decision. Where do I want to live my life? And I want to live my dream. My dream was Beverly Hills, and I looked around and I ended up finding a piece of property and built my dream home. And I built it to entertain, and I had to pay a tax to come back into California.
So wait, you were in? Were you in Vegas?
I was in Nevada. I left California. Don't say it's Nevada. Don't screw it up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know it's like when people come to New York, where I'm from, and they call it Houston Street. I got you. I'm with you. Nevada.
Halston. I get it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So, look, I've operated all over the world, and I could live anywhere. And I wanted to live my dream. So I came back. And as I did that, I built this unbelievable dream home for entertaining and political discourse. And I had all my friends who I went to high school with who are still here. A lot of them were moving away. And I'm like, what are you guys leaving for? And then I started asking a lot of questions. And then I started interviewing a lot of folks. And some of those folks were those that were contemplating running for governor. And I now have interviewed every single candidate. And not one had solutions. They were all careerists. They've never signed the front of a check. They've never borrowed money. They've never understood what it's like to be a steward of capital. Okay? They're all compromised. And a lot of my friends are having their children leave, and I'm like, I don't want my children to leave me here in California where I'm going to live the rest of my life, my dream. I already have my cemetery plot picked out.
So what do you do to keep those? What do you do to keep those folks in California?
Well, we're not only going to stabilize California, we're going to grow California. We've got 5 great exports: innovation, manufacturing, travel and tourism, entertainment, agriculture, and education. All of the 5 great pillars of this. We're not a state, we're a country. We're going to act like a country.
Yeah.
We're going to fix the insurance crisis, which I've already laid out on my platform. I've done the due diligence because I've talked to the carriers, because I had to do the same thing in my company. I had to fix my worldwide insurance platform with property liability, casualty, automobile, and healthcare. I was all self-insulated. We, as the country of California, can self-insulate ourselves. We're going to be the bully pulpit of the United States. We're going to unify with the federal government. Okay? And Mr. Trump, he knows not to poke me because I know how to poke him. And there's not one other candidate that can do it. We're both reality TV. I'm Undercover Boss.
That's right.
He's The Apprentice. But you know what, guys? Each show has 4 acts. And
Is your show better? Is Undercover Boss a better show? Is what I want to know.
Do you want to end up with happy tears or sad tears? If you want happy tears, go to Undercover Boss.
Okay.
Do you like that comparison? I mean, I've heard people describe you as the Donald Trump of the Democratic Party. I suppose that could be a compliment, but I could also see how that might be an insult. What do you make of it?
Well, let's put it this way. He and I were supposed to do the Trump Tower together in Las Vegas because our architects were the same and they tried to marry us. I went and visited him a couple of times. And we've been together socially, never to talk about Epstein Island, but...
So you also haven't been there just like Donald Trump has it, right?
No, I can affirmatively say I've never been there. I've never even met Jeffrey Epstein. God bless Hashem, the Lord God has looked over me. No. No.
That's a good thing. Yes.
Look, we interviewed each other and I came to this conclusion. I've got ethics. He doesn't. I've got morals. He doesn't. I pay my contractors within 48 hours. He doesn't pay his contractors.
Yeah.
And I was trained by a very ethical man, Harry Reid, and he was trained by Roy Cohn, Mr. Lie, Deny. And look, that's okay. I would never dress down and ruin our brand. I protect brand. Brand takes decades to build. It takes minutes to destroy. He's a wrecking ball. I create value. He destroys value. Okay. I make all my bankers money. I make all my investor outsized returns. I'm a steward of capital. I serve. I roll up my sleeves. I'm busboy to boardroom. He likes to be served. I'd rather cook a meal for you, ask you what you want to eat, serve it to you, talk to you, clean your plate. And I'm good with that. I'm good with serving.
Well, we actually need a chef for the Blue Amp Substack video. So if you want to, anytime, want to sort of join us, and I know Cliff is a big fan of fish, and I like pasta. And no, I'm just kidding.
I actually can do both. Whatever you gentlemen want, I'm happy to serve you. So,
all right.
Look, I have no problem sweeping the floor. I want to sit in the back of the theater and create good leaders and watch everyone get a trophy. I've got plenty of trophies.
On that point, and I want to circle back to something I mentioned earlier, the billionaire stuff. The issue is not, for me, and I think for Cliff as well, it's not that, we're villainizing billionaires. And we agree that everybody should be aspirational. I think that the question is that a lot of people have is it seems like, it feels like, and I think it's reality, that the billionaire class, the wealthy, whatever you want to call them, they have far more political power because of our system largely. They can buy more votes, they can buy more policies, and there's a sense among middle-class Americans who have been squeezed, that middle class has been shrinking because it's all been to benefit the wealthy. And I guess my question for you is, as somebody who has been very successful, you're a billionaire, would you acknowledge that there is this sort of inequity that exists in our political system? And what would you do to expand the middle class?
And let me add quickly to that. I would say, if we're being honest here, largely that's been created by the Republican Party. I mean, we don't sit here and say you're bad because you're a billionaire. We know Mark Cuban a bit, who I think is a good person. A few other folks.
I know Mark. Mark.
Yeah. So I'm talking more. There are some ones who believe in this crazy tech fascist kind of ideology. Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, and they subscribe to this accelerationism, as they call it. And so we do demonize them because we think they're dangerous. But I think that's an important distinction. So again, and so but at the same time, the middle class has gotten squeezed. It's shrunk. So as somebody who's been so successful, what do you see as you could do and others could do to help bring the middle class back?
Great opportunity. Empathize. I'm judged on my results. I'm judged on taking care of my team, my customers. I'm here for you. I am for you. Okay? I get upset when you want to put me in that bucket because I am no Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
I am no Cufflink. Put me down in Compton and Boyle Heights and let me just go hang with everybody and give hugs and kisses and listen.
But you would still acknowledge, and look, we don't put you in that bucket of Palm Beach, but you would still acknowledge that based on your financial success, your wealth, you have more political influence, more ability to change things than we do.
Well, and you know what? Let's talk about that. I have never once used my gravitas political policy for self beneficial results. I'm the opposite. I've used it for all. I've used it to help people, to make their lives better, to acknowledge that there is a problem and fight for everyone. And that's what I use my political power and my experience to do. I'm good. I need nothing. I don't want anything. I'm here to serve and roll up my sleeves.
Well, look, and that's refreshing, because there is this perception, fair or not, that most people who have achieved a certain sort of wealth level, that they are in it for themselves, that they're rigging the system. And look, I think this is great that if you are breaking away from that, terrific, God bless you. But there's a lot of people out there that are going to have to be convinced. And I just wonder if you acknowledge that. I do,
and I'll tell you this story. So I had when I speak with a bunch of folks, for some reason, they think, oh, you're a Republican the way I speak. No, that's the way Democrats used to speak, because it's aggressive. It's a leader. It's tone. And I had somebody in the MAGA party come up to me, and they used this woke, weak nonsense. And I said, you know what? I should just effing body slam your ass.
Did you?
And he said, you're threatening me. And I said, whoa.
I have no doubt that LBJ used to do that. Yes, that's true.
Did you just say I'm threatening you? And that's my threatening you is saying I'm body slamming you? I said, I haven't slit your throat yet. You know, but you just say a Democrat threatened you? Why don't you go look in the mirror? This is what a Democrat looks like. We fight. We fight, and we're here for everyone. You're here for yourself. I'm here for everyone. I'm here to fight for everyone.
Well, I like that part of it. Absolutely. Tell me, so I read a number of different aspects of philanthropy. We've challenged you on a number of policies. We've challenged you, your background, wealth, dating, this, that, everything. I want to be fair. So what are some of the philanthropic activities in which you've engaged in Los Angeles, California, the country? You choose.
Well, it's about $60 million. You want to talk about all of it?
Well, what are you most proud of?
It's up to you.
I'll tell you what I'm most proud of. There are three things that I am most proud of, because I've done a lot of philanthropy, and I'll tell you this. I've given to philanthropies, and I've taken my money back when they haven't performed.
All right. Seems fair.
Because I hold philanthropy accountable too, and I'll hold every philanthropy in California accountable, because I've seen grift on grift on grift. Go look at the LA Fire concert, that boondoggle with Irving Azoff et al., where money goes to another philanthropy, to another philanthropy, to another philanthropy. How much G&A is wasted, general and administrative costs, people siphoning off money off the top. That's a bunch of bullshit. And then they're putting it in their own pocketbooks and their own little pet projects. I call bullshit on them too. So I'm an equal opportunity. And wait, you'll see another lawsuit coming after somebody else that's violated the law, that should never have violated the law. Wait till you see this one.
I feel like I need to say fuck a few times, because you've cursed more than me on this show.
And that never happens.
That never happens with our guests. So fuck, shit, fuck. Okay, go ahead now.
They used to have a bet when I would give speeches, how many fuck bombs I'd give. I don't care. Look, I'm unapologetically authentic.
No, you shouldn't. I was having fun. That was not supposed to be.
You can't offend me, my friend. You can say anything you want. It's all been said. It's fine. You know what? All I care about is we leave, you learn something new, I learned something new about you, and we're all happy. Yep. And the world's in a better place. And if we can have these non-vitriolic conversations, boy, wouldn't the world be better?
It'd be much better, yes. If you didn't have to, every time, the way Donald Trump does it, it's a zero-sum game. And it doesn't have to be that way.
That's right. That's right. You know what? When I'm governor of California, I'm going to get on a jet, and I'm going to go sit in his office till he sees me, and we're going to hash it out behind closed doors.
Hmm.
Just be careful. There's a lot of bed bugs in Mar-a-Lago, from what I've read. So
I'm not going to Mar-a-Lago, dude. No.
Stephen Coobeck.
So,
He's a.
well, do you want to give a closing? Let's let you give your closing pitch.
Yeah,
We should.
you didn't let me finish about the three greatest philanthropists.
All right, give us
yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Stay on point. All right.
Oh, we have trouble with that sometimes. Go ahead.
The number one, I invested in a philanthropy because it's an investment in the future of others' aspiration and success. That's my philanthropy. I'm not giving them money away. I'm investing in a result. I invested a couple $1 million with the scholars at West Point Academy, and Frank Luntz is teaching those scholars. They're called the Coobeck Scholars. And every time I meet with those young adults, approximately 25 of them, I'm encouraged there's hope and future in this country because they get it. They actually get up early, stay late, go to work with a runny nose and protect our great country and love our country. The greatest absolute investment in philanthropy. Second is the LA Dream Center, helping those that in homelessness.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen families after 1 year come out back in the real world, assimilated with $10,000 in a bank account, and they succeed.
That's great.
And I've had people tell me they now have jobs and they're back into society. Okay. And the other is the Brent Shapiro Foundation for Drug and Alcohol Awareness, working with young children, and also the Inner City Games, which is now After School All Stars. Okay. With the youth, training the youth. Also, Homeboy Industries, lastly, down in East LA with recidivism, having people come out of jail and come back into society and helping acknowledge.
That's hugely important, that one, because there's a high rate of recidivism. So.
Yeah, there is. And you know what? 80% of the crime's done by 20% of the folks, and maybe they need to be incarcerated the rest of their life. And
I was going to say, I mean, you've been very generous with your time, and we're coming up towards the end in just a minute here. But I want to, to Cliff's point, let's just suppose that you're going to be facing, hopefully, some debates, right? Some gubernatorial debates, and at the end, you get 60 seconds to make closing remarks. Imagine this is your 60-second end of the debate. What's your message?
It's really simple. California will be back open for business. It will become affordable, livable, workable. It'll be dealt with respect, responsibility, and results. I will execute. I will be accountable for your money. I'm the best steward of your checkbook. I'm the only one that's proven to do it. No other candidate's done it, and I'll enforce the law. And I'm ready to take the keys tomorrow. No one else is. They all need training wheels.
That's actually pretty succinct, good pitch there at the end. I have to be honest. That's good stuff.
And Cliff's been doing this for a long time. Stephen Coobeck, thank you so much for joining us on Blue Amp Substack. You're an interesting guy. You're quite a character. I actually think that the race benefits from you being in it and having these discussions. And we wish you the best of luck. And hopefully you'll come back.
I'm going to leave you with one thing.
Sure.
Everyone matters. And we got to talk about sane and humane immigration. Everything needs to be a little more sane and humane.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll be in touch about the fish and the pasta. And I'm kidding.
I'm here to cook and serve you anytime.
Stephen J. Cloobeck, billionaire philanthropist, and governor, not yet, running for governor, candidate for governor of California. Thank you so much for joining the Blue Amp Substack. We really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Stephen. We appreciate it.
Thank you for manifesting my destiny.
Okay.
We do what we can. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Cliff, I got a couple questions for you now.
Sure.
First of all, I mean, you've been around politics a long time and seen a lot of campaigns. What did you make of his presentation, his issues, the way he summed it up at the end?
Interesting. The summary at the end, I think, actually was the best part. I think that he could stick to those succinct points. Then that's something he can sell better. Clearly, at times, I think this going off into the stuff with Villaraigosa and certain other folks, you don't want to show an angry side of yourself. I don't think that I don't think it's to his benefit. I don't think he needs to do it. But I think you have to clearly I'm trying to figure out how to say this. He's very different than most of the other candidates who
Yeah.
are running in this, and obviously said a lot of things that probably certain members of the audience on certain key progressive issues are not going to agree with. I didn't. I'm glad to have the conversation. And somebody just asked me, Cliff, do you read the comment? Of course I read the comments. I saw what you guys had to say. We're trying to be as fair as possible. I think he did say a number of things that I personally very much disagreed with. But we wanted him to talk. And I think if you watched me and David, we challenged him numerous times on things. So I think that's the best that we can do. What do you think, David?
I thought certainly he's authentic, and he had been described to me as the Donald Trump of the Democratic Party, and I can see it. And he's a character. I think he's got some hurdles to overcome, and one of them might be this, this perception that he tends to, I don't know, he's got a lot of money, but maybe has a thin skin and sues a lot of people, sues Villagorosa, sues an ex-girlfriend. He'll have to get over that. But the other thing about it, Cliff, is I don't know if we've talked about this, but I covered the one of my favorite stories that I've ever covered was the California recall of Gray Davis in 2005. And that's where we had Arianna Huffington and Gary Coleman and porn stars and everybody sort of running for governor, and Arnold Schwarzenegger obviously won. California's politics is unusual. And I just, as I think there's actually a chance that Stephen Coobeck, can win this thing, not so much because you and I like him or because other people agree with him on the issues or feel like his sort of, the sort of roundabout non sequiturs that he sometimes gets to. That I don't think that helps him politically, but California is unusual, and he kind of fits into that. So it wouldn't be surprising to me, whether I agree or disagree with him, to see him actually do well in this race.
Right. And I would say, look, I saw what Sandy Bassett say that, he will never win. Look, not to pick you out on you personally, Sandy, I will just say, these are the things I said about Donald Trump in 2016.
Yes.
And I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think of Ronald Reagan. I think of Fred Thompson. I think of Jesse Ventura. There have been a lot of times I've thought somebody can't win. I think it would do him better. Sometimes, he definitely has achieved a lot, but I don't think he needs to as constantly tell people about what he achieved. Maybe listen a little bit more would probably benefit him, because I think that can be off-putting to people. And I think, he showed a side of himself towards the end there. I tried to joke here and there because I'm a jackass and do that. And when he would sort of join in and whatever, that would be, more fun. I think, the anger with the Villagorosa and stuff, and sort of maybe some of the I did this, I did that. He'd be better off to let that go and stick to what are my plans are. You can very easily summarize, I've accomplished a lot. I sold this business. I'm a billionaire. Now let me tell you what I'm going to do for you. I think that might be the better way to go.
Yeah. But I meant what I said. I think California benefits by him being in the race. He brings a very interesting perspective. And you know what? We need to have these discussions. And to his point, if he can prove that he is in fact a very successful guy who's not in this to enrich himself or to enrich his own businesses, that would be a very nice break from how we've gotten used to the billionaire class in our politics for the last several years.
Look, absolutely. Conversations are good. And I'd have to look in, and he may have done a ton of philanthropy. That's fantastic. He talked about things that he had done. If exactly as he says, he's paid his contractors, he's made people money and not done what Donald Trump has done. That's a huge difference. And so I think almost anybody you have in a race who's got an interesting background, you want this conversation. As I said, I mean, do I want Adolf Hitler or Idi Amin in there? No. Do I want on the other side maybe Hamas, or do I want Bibi Netanyahu? No. But I think having most people in the mainstream have conversations, and he may disagree with Democrats on some things. Good. Make them defend their positions. Make him defend his. He clearly has confidence in himself. That is what you need to run, in these races. So to me, that and the fact that he can write some checks will give him a shot, whether people want to give him a shot or not.
Could you see the steam coming out of my ears when he was talking about the Bernie Bros? I was like, oh!
I was enjoying that. Just I wanted to see if you.
For people who don't know, Cliff and I, we've had disagreements, and one of our disagreements was over Hillary versus Bernie, and that's a whole other podcast. But anyway,
I'm ready to fight David now. No. Listen, David was a Bernie guy. I was a Hillary guy. Each of us was ready to support the other one 100%. Had they been the nominee, because we both understand that democracy is a privilege and you can lose it. if you don't get behind people, if you choose not to vote or vote for some third-party candidate, I will insult you and say things, because all you're doing is throwing your vote away when you have this opportunity that so many countries don't have to make an impact with your vote. I believe is stupid. I don't care who it is you're doing that with. So, we disagreed on that, but I would have been right behind Bernie had he been the nominee. Frankly, even think I agreed more with Bernie when it came to policies. I just did not think, he, for a variety of reasons, was the right candidate, and there were things that could be used against him. But that's water under the bridge, and who the hell cares?
Exactly.
I just should have, I guess, brought up with Stephen, see if you would agree with me that for our 70 to 80% top tax rate for those that make over 10 million a year.
Yes.
I don't know if he would have agreed with me on that. I forgot to ask that, but
we will. I'm sure we'll have him back, and we will get to that.
Well, we're going to go out to his place. He's going to cook us some food, and we'll ask him if he's got like an extra room where we could just host this thing from.
Absolutely. While he serves us, on with white towels and all that kind of stuff.
Look, I will say, I'm not tooting our own horns. I like to do these things with a mixture of challenging people, which we did, trying to lighten up the atmosphere so they'll answer by, being humorous, which hopefully we were, and get some answers, which hopefully we did, So,
and for everybody out there, if this is the kind of approach that you like, and I think a lot of you are saying yes, subscribe to us on Blue Amp Substack. Be a paid subscriber, because there's extra content that's coming your way and all sorts of behind-the-scenes stuff you'll get with that. So support our mission, and we'll keep the conversations with Stephen Coobeck and others. Anybody else who's running for Cover California, we'll put in a call to Antonio Villaraigosa and the rest who are running, and see if they'll come on.
Maybe we'll get them a debate on our show here.
Right.
We'll just let it fly. And a programming note, we've confirmed, but we will confirm again. We've got Olivia Troy coming on next week, who is a former national security advisor. I think she's national security advisor, one of the top positions to Mike Pence, who became a huge never Trump person. And now, I don't know if she calls herself a Democrat, but is fully broken from the Republican Party and has some very interesting criticisms. She will be joining us. And that should be an interesting conversation too. I like actually talking with people often that I disagree with on some things, because I like to really kind of get them to defend their positions, and jokes are fun too. You like the Dodgers Yankees one? I knew he wasn't.
That was good.
That one.
Yeah, Cliff, my career at MSNBC would have gone a lot further had you and I been doing this together back then. But anyway, it's a whole other...
As if the fact that I'm a total fucking goofball and say things like total fucking wouldn't have destroyed you.
No, but I pissed off a lot of people too much. But anyway, that's
what, guys? One of the things, if you sign up for this whole thing, you can find out. I want to say quickly, there's the Sound Check Fund, where we're giving out, I believe we'll be ready with our first 4 checks next week. The W-9s are in to different creators. So we're putting money into that from our paid subscriber fund. But also, you can find out why David and I separately were both kicked out or banned from MSNBC. I got banned for a number of years. They wouldn't have me on. And David, they pushed him out the door, even though he's one of the most talented people to ever appear on their airwaves, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not just saying that shit. That's true. So
I was the bad boy of cable news for reasons that are.
We'll share names. You want to know who we were told by, what happened? Subscribe, folks. That's how you learn stuff.
We're going to spill the tea for sure.
We are.
Hey, Cliff, great show. Great show. This was awesome. Thank you to everybody watching. And thanks to you, Cliff, and everybody else put this together. Also, thanks to Chris Velasco, for a great guy. Used to be at ABC News for a long time, but I've known for many years, for putting this together and introducing us to Stephen Coobeck. So,
and I'll say quickly, I saw Cynthia Rice in there, who moderates at the other place and whatever. She asked us, we will invite Katie Porter to be on the show. We've just had a major candidate. I haven't confirmed yet, so I won't say, major candidate running for governor in a state reach out and asked to be on. The way we had, what's her name? God, I get pissed at myself when I do this. From Arkansas. God,
Shannon.
Yes. I mean, Shofkin. No, we're not leaving until we get Haley.
Haley. So, sorry, you and I are getting old.
I'm 53. I drank too much in college. I'm lucky I'm even sitting here and not, and out in the street. So sorry. Haley was amazing. And if you're watching this, Haley, you forget your name because of you. You are one. You're unique and can beat Tom Cotton. But we're gonna have a lot more candidates. So Cynthia, you can bet we'll invite Katie Porter. I can't promise you she'll join, but I can promise you she'll get the invite.
Yeah.
And that's it. We've gone a little bit late. David his kids are probably waiting in the rain, pissed at him. So we're gonna go. And and as I say on my other thing sometimes, as the sun sets slowly in the west, my friends, we bid you a fond farewell. Take care.